mic is up in my business. I might just hold it. Okay, I apologize for this little mic situation. I just feel like it looks really weird here. So also, I'm in a hotel room, so apologies for the lighting and stuff. I have a shoot that I'm working on tomorrow for work, so I'm staying the night here. I wanted to talk more about my post-grad journey because I'm officially 6 months post-grad, or maybe in February I'll be officially 6 months. But I just wanted to talk about it because I filmed my 3-month post-grad video 3 months ago, obviously. And I do feel like things have changed since then, and I just wanted to kind of do my little update that I was planning on doing and just kind of talk to you guys because I feel like this is something that I felt like I was going into blind. I hadn't really seen a lot of people's post-grad experiences out there, and you know, obviously everyone's is different and everyone's got such different lives, especially when you get to this age, but I just wanted to kind of put my little thoughts out there in case someone resonates with it and finds it helpful. So here we are, 6 months post-grad. Yeah, I just rewatched my 3-month post-grad video, and it's actually really funny because I had a lot of good thoughts back then and a lot of things that I still stick to this day, like trying to remember, but I think I myself forgot a lot of those things that I was talking about over the 3 months in between filming that video and now. And I really should have just rewatched my own video because I had all the answers there. Just, I don't know, somehow I forgot to think in that way. Anyways, a few other thoughts that I had. I know I started talking in that video about being in that transitionary phase and kind of coming into all of that change all at once and dealing with it. And I mean, I was not dealing with it too well. I tried to say that I was, I think, during that video, but I think it was kind of obvious that like there was a lot of emotions around all of that change happening all at once and just being very overwhelmed. And that's also not to say that I'm out of that transitionary phase. I still feel like I am transitioning into my post-grad life, but I would say like I'm definitely further along than I was at that point. I feel a lot better about the transitionary period. It's funny because like it's a time of change, but I'm kind of getting comfortable with the change. I would say that based on my life, like I am pretty good with accepting change, and I am okay with the idea that past versions of me will kind of morph into new versions of me. And I also believe that the ways that my life change are beneficial for me in the long run. This change was definitely a big one to deal with, but I do feel like I'm getting more okay with it, and I'm definitely aware of the difference between me last year being a college student and me now being post-grad, working, all of that. And I do feel like those versions of me are very different. But again, I'm happy about it. I'm not mourning that loss of myself because obviously I'm still me. There's no changing that, but I'm becoming more confident, I'm becoming a little bit more mature, and I feel like I can tell a lot of the ways that I think about things and I approach different things that I am just growing up as everyone does, and I'm happy about that. Obviously, because it's for the better. And yeah, I think like definitely, obviously, as anyone does, still making mistakes, like nothing about that has changed. There's no sense of trying to seek a state of not making mistakes or just kind of living a very stagnant life, because at the end of the day, like I think there is a lot of good things that come with the mistakes we make, the ways that we grow. Like there's so much for us to learn and to grow. Another thing that I talked about was this element of freedom, and I was kind of realizing at the 3-month mark all of the freedom that I now had, and it was more of a realization versus like actively using that. And I feel like now 3 months later I've really shown myself that I can take that freedom and I can make use of it, and there's so much fun to be had with all of the freedom. I think at first I was kind of overwhelmed with the fact that I was now responsible for all of my happiness, and it was something that I really had to do for myself. No one could do that for me. After realizing that, like, I've been able to explore new things, explore new hobbies, try out different things, and also just not have a lot of fear around it or pressure around being a certain way. So I've definitely gotten a lot more comfortable with trying new things, especially alone, which is a whole other thing. I think in college, the whole premise of it, or the whole expectation, is that you are surrounded by a whole friend group, you're with other people, you're having fun with others. Sometimes for some people it is hard when you are post-grad and you realize there is a lot of life that we have to do alone, when everyone kind of goes on their own paths, that we are in our own company a lot of the time. I think that can sometimes be hard to deal with. I don't know. I feel like I was always so like anxious about trying to make myself be okay with being alone, but I feel like now it's just more of like a natural thing that I don't really think too much into, which I also just really appreciate. I can go do things alone, I can go volunteer alone, I can go to different classes alone, I can try new hobbies alone, and it's not really a thing that is like a pressure on me anymore. And I really appreciate that, because it's so easy to get like stuck in certain mindsets, and I feel like just releasing all of that and releasing all of the pressures and embarrassments and all of that stuff around being a certain way or living a certain way, it's just gone. Like, it just doesn't exist in post-grad, because you're not like constantly comparing yourself to someone, or at least like I'm not in that position where I'm comparing myself to other college students. Like, I think in college it was a situation where I was comparing myself to other college students, or like the college student, which is like what I imagined a college student should be and what all the media I watched growing up portrayed a college student to be. And now it's just like there is no rule book at all, there is no expectation, and it's kind of fun because I can do whatever and not be comparing myself to a version that I think I should be. Ballet has definitely been one of my bigger priorities and excitements. I actually just got recommended to start Point and just like kind of go get fitted for Point. Definitely a long journey ahead with that, but this is healing my inner child, because this was a childhood dream of mine and I'm finally making it happen, and that's just been something I've been excited about, so I just wanted to share that. I've also been really interested in getting into more volunteering opportunities, like physically volunteering my time. That has been a great way to like just get involved, do something productive, help out the community, but also meet new people who have shared interests in helping others. And I feel like that has been like a wonderful thing that I've been exploring recently. There's so many classes out there. I feel like my social media algorithms have started to realize that I'm looking for ways to kind of meet new people, get involved, find activities around me. So one thing I recently heard about was this app, I want to say, or this company that pairs you with a few different people and you go and try out a restaurant, and it's just 5 strangers meeting each other and kind of learning about one another over a meal. And I just thought that was like, I don't know, I feel like people have told us that our generation is so lonely and that our phones are ruining us and that we don't have third spaces anymore. But I feel like I'm really, at least, I mean, I'm in New York City. Like, I feel like this is one of the first places that get a lot of these things. But like, I truly feel like people in my generation are hearing all of that and doing something about it. And we're trying to get back out there. We're trying to foster these friendships and communities. And I'm excited to see like how this continues on over the next few years. And I'm also just excited to see how it fits into my life, because I feel like when I was younger, just like in school, I just had so much social anxiety around things like this. And I'm just really happy that I now don't feel all of that pressure, and I'm more going into these new experiences. Like, I hope to meet different people, learn about their stories, and also just like have an activity that's fun to do at the same time. So I just wanted to share that because I feel like, as someone who really struggled to like get involved in clubs, in school sports, in just anything that was kind of like this but like school related, and now I feel like I've had like kind of a flip-flop effect where I am so interested in all of those things now and excited to be involved. Like, that is a huge part of post-grad that I am really happy about and that I kind of hoped for, and I'm glad that it's like come true, essentially. Gratitude. Let's talk about gratitude. I was shocked to find that I had actually talked about this in my last video, because somewhere in between then and I'd say like about a month ago, like beginning of this year, I totally forgot about gratitude, which is like insane because I feel like I've built a lot of my happiness and life around focusing on the little moments and focusing on gratitude and being grateful for what I have. And I slipped up. Like, I don't know how it happened. A part of me feels a bit like embarrassed about it because like, how could I not be grateful for all the things I have? But I guess it's not necessarily that I was like ungrateful for what I had, but I think I was focusing too much on what I didn't have or what I thought I would have but didn't. And I was wrapped up in what was not present in my life that I wanted and what I had hoped for and didn't get. And it's like, if you focus so much on the things that you missed or you feel like you had hoped for and didn't receive, or you're scared that you are missing it, or just anything that evokes like a negative emotion, whether that's fear, anxiety, sadness, how you think about things truly does impact the way you see life and your level of happiness. Like, I truly believe that. I had just had so many negative thoughts, and I started feeling like I was just an unhappy person and that nothing was making me happy. And I think I even said in my last video, like, what was the disconnect between me realizing that I was achieving my younger self's dreams and not feeling the happiness that I thought I would have. And that is entirely because I was not realizing how incredible that was and not being grateful basically for what I had done and what I had in my life. And at the beginning of this year especially, I really made it a point to start focusing on gratitude and things I could be grateful for. I don't know, it totally fixed me. Like, when I started thinking about that, I'm so much happier and I have such a better grasp on my emotions, and the negative things, like, they don't matter as much as all of the wonderful positive things in my life. I feel like I'm kind of getting into like a preachy mode, but I truly believe in gratitude being the source of happiness, and actively participating in being grateful is the way to find happiness and be happy and think positively. It can start so small. It could just be, wow, I saw a pretty tree outside today. Or, this is crazy that humans have built all of this stuff around us. Or like, this one thing in my life makes my life so easy and I couldn't even imagine where I'd be without it. Anything like that. And then it constantly builds, and then you learn, you practice how to be grateful and how to find the good in things. And you can take it to far extents. And I don't want to say this in a way to diminish negative thoughts, because negative thoughts aren't inherently bad. It's just, we need to feel them and then let them go and not have them weigh heavier than our positive experiences. There are times that are harder to be grateful for. There are experiences that are harder to be grateful for. Some are probably impossible to feel grateful for because there are a lot of bad things that could happen, but it's definitely a hard one. But I just think gratitude is such a powerful thing, and I really recommend to embrace embrace it a little bit if you are feeling like your life is very negative, but it's obviously hard. There's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of gray areas in that, but it's just helped me a lot. Like honestly, like flipped my life back over, because there was a moment where I just felt like I wasn't thinking about anything positively. I think also too, especially coming into post-grad, you really get to be in charge of your own happiness and your perspective on things. You get to see things how you want to, and you get to interact with things how you want to. So I feel like it is really up to you how much the good and the bad ways. And yeah, it's a very powerful thing. The next thing I want to touch on is post-grad has brought me a lot of time to do things. I feel like in the past, I've had to put aside different things, trying new hobbies, because I just didn't have the time. And now I find that I do have the time. Time is also something that I get to have more control over, because obviously classes were set in stone, the school year was set in stone, but now I feel like I have more agency over the time that I have to do things. I am very fortunate that I am in an industry that has the ability to have like a work-life balance. I know that's not the case for everyone, but work is definitely more freeing for me than school was, and I have a lot more time on my hands to explore all of the hobbies and interests that I've had over the years and that I've wanted to pursue. For example, ballet. That's the biggest piece I feel like that I'm holding on to about being post-grad that is very helpful in embracing the change. Yeah, like hobbies are so fun. Like I get the time to read for fun. I get the time to volunteer, go to ballet, try different classes, go to a pottery studio one Saturday morning if I wanted to. And also another thing with that, I am really trying to invest into my hobbies because it gives me something else to be proud of other than work. I do love my line of work. Like it is creative and it brings me a lot of passion and joy from it, and opportunities that I feel really grateful for, but I think it is also important to have sources of joy that come from other things, and also things that don't have as big of a return as working. I work in my industry because it is what I'm passionate about, but obviously I have to work to also sustain myself and support myself financially. But I think hobbies are a whole other thing where it's like you're getting a lot of enjoyment and passion from it too, but it's maybe not something that is tied to your financial stability. It's something you really get to truly choose to do outside of work. I'm not saying that phones are bad or like scrolling is a bad thing. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of connectivity that we get from social media, but I think that there is also a whole lot of other things to do that could bring a lot more joy than just being on my phone all day. Okay, finally, I just wanted to say between the 3-month mark and 6-month, I truly feel like I've become a lot more confident in myself and comfortable with being me. This could just be like me getting older. I'm now 23, which is also another funny thing because this birthday was very interesting. Like it was definitely a different experience, like being post-grad and having a birthday. It was fun. It was lovely. I got to spend time with my wonderful friends. So I was happy about that. I truly felt like I've become a lot more comfortable. And I mean, also too, like when I was younger, I always thought like, oh, I have interests that are like not in my age range. And I feel like now it's just like, I feel like I'm kind of growing into my interests and it's not as serious. Like the 10 p.m. bedtime isn't grandma. It's because I have to get up for work at 7 in the morning the next day. So a lot of my interests just feel like they're really solidifying into myself, and I'm really excited to explore them and do all my passions and everything. A couple things I wanted to say to end off this video. Change is definitely not linear. I could be saying all of this, you know, I'm doing great, but there are moments probably that I will have and that I have had in the past where maybe post-grad wasn't feeling too great, or maybe I was just extra nostalgic for the old times, or being an adult just wasn't as fun as I thought it was, or just anything like that. And I feel like if you are also 6 months post-grad and maybe going through a rough patch with it, we're all the same. It's not this person is doing better than this person or this person's adjusting more than this person. It's like we're all on our own roller coasters and we're all getting through it, and all of our lives are so different. So don't think you're ever behind. Our 20s especially are times to just be ourselves and not have too many things holding us down. We don't have a lot of responsibilities, but we're really trying to find ourselves, grow into adults, and I don't think that there's a right way to do it or a wrong way. Like, there's no race, there's no better or worse. You can only do what is best for you, and that's really like all that matters, truly. Also, I made a little quote for myself, which I don't know if I've talked about this in the past, but I've always wrote good things are coming on my wallpapers, on my mood boards. Just that is like what I've centered around. And I've now changed that little quote to good things are coming and are also here. I know they're just words, but I wanted to make that change, I guess, in my little quote, because there is a lot of hope that the good things are coming quote brings to me, and that has been one of the biggest motivators of my entire life for me. But I also want to acknowledge that I am truly living dreams of mine. Like, I'm doing things that younger me was hoping for and excited about, and it's also playing into the whole gratitude thing. Like, there are so many good things here. There's so many good things that I've experienced in the past as well, and I think it's just a good little reminder to add to my overall reminder that wonderful things are ahead, and my life right now is also wonderful. I just wanted to say that because, especially like being post-grad, there isn't as much of like a goal or objective here, I guess. Obviously in school it's to graduate or to get a job or to continue on into the next form of education you have lined up. But I mean, what, like retirement for post-grad? I don't know. It's harder to like put an end stop on this period of my life because I mean, it feels like it's going to be such a long period. So there's no reason to like kind of get too ahead of myself there, but there's no like finish line, I guess, that we're racing towards or like trying to meet being post-grad. So I think it's important to realize all of the wonderful things that you are doing now, and we'll always constantly want to change, and with different periods of our life will come different objectives and different goals. I think that it's important to balance like looking ahead and looking to a certain goal or accomplishment with also being proud of where you're at and being happy with where you're at, and realizing that this is part of the journey to get to your accomplishment, and the entire journey is worth being proud of and happy with and comfortable with, instead of just that 1 minute where you're actually achieving it. Like, it's the whole process. That's everything that I wanted to talk about. I feel like this was more of like a stream of conscious than the last one, and I don't know, maybe just like a certain portion of post-grad, but I feel like I talked about what I have been thinking about the most and felt was most important to talk about. So I hope some of this resonated with someone out there. Again, everyone's post-grad experience looks so different. So mine looks different to my friends, mine looks different to strangers. It's kind of fun in that way because it kind of releases the pressure of what you think you should be doing. Yeah, I just wanted to say to anyone who is going through their post-grad journey out there, if you have any tips, let's start a conversation in the comments. I would love to hear about those things and just kind of do like a little check-in with everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are having a wonderful winter, and thank you so much for watching and for being here. If you watched through this entire video, I really appreciate you. I don't often say this, but subscribe if you would like to. We're about to hit 7,000, which is insane. I think we're like 150 away from it, and I'm so thankful for everyone who has subscribed and been here on my YouTube channel for however long, and I just really appreciate all of your support. But yeah, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye!